I've been in the tech industry for a really long time, like 14 years, kind of learned all of the tricks of the trade. And right now, dating apps are the thing. You know, swipe right, swipe left. I get it. It's where we're living. It seems to be an interesting place to find other people. We are meeting relationships in all sorts of ways, and we have digital communication is usually in the middle of our relationship. When I was dating, you had to wait till you got home to see if there was an answering machine, if you heard from anyone. So you really got to live independently. Now we live so much interconnected. We can watch what people are doing all the time. We can text them ad nauseam. So we never really have the chance to be uncomfortable with our feelings because we can instant gratify it all day long. Swipe right, swipe left. This doesn't work. Oh, there's something else around the door. And because of that, we have more toxic, unhealthy relationships than I think any other time in history. Because we can't just be in our feelings. We're always trying to get rid of them. We don't want to be uncomfortable. And here's what you really need to understand, is that prior to your 10th birthday, you had a pain point. That pain point, if you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it entered right at your basic needs and your sense of love and belonging. The very first people in your life that were sent to love you, they also were codependents themselves. They had emotional pain themselves, and chances are they married their emotional pain. Doesn't mean you can't grow out of it, but that's who you're originally attracted to. And then they birth children, and hence the repeated cycle of this. But when you have emotional pain, 3 things happen. 1, you don't believe that you're worthy of love. That's actually buried in your subconscious. You don't believe that you're worthy of love. The second thing is your codependent addictive triangulation. That's your victim, martyr, perpetrator. That's who you attract. You are trying to solve what you couldn't solve as a child. You want to solve it now with your relationship. So you're like, oh, this relationship, it's going to be the one. It's going to take all this pain that I feel away because they're my knight in shining armor and they're going to take this away, only to find out that the knight in shining armor is still just a frog. It's still just a toad. It's just a person, just a human, who equally was attracted to you for very much the same reasons. This is the time that this person's going to love me, and all of this unworthiness and this codependence is all going to go away. The third is your EKG. That's what you draw to you. See, we always think that we're drawing to people from what we think here. That's what they say. Think, therefore I am. It's actually a fallacy, because emotional pain lives in your subconscious. If you are passed to the event, you need to imagine like that's your radar, that's your sonar, and it's like beep, 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 and it's bringing to you often more pain. But the delusion is we think it's solving the pain. That's what we think. We think, oh, this relationship's going to solve this pain. And this is the greatest myth of our times. It can't. It can't. Your relationship cannot solve your early pain point. It can't. It's purely the playground where it burps and farts and shits all over the place. And when you experience emotion, that's what shows up. So then people project on others. It's like, oh, it was so good in the beginning and now it's south. And why is it south? And you're like, you should be better. And why aren't we try to then change the person saying, well, my pain's still here. Yeah, because at first it's like the first time you have that first drink or that first drug. And it's like, woo, this was so fun. And if you keep in that path, eventually it doesn't have the same impact. Relationships are like that. At first, the drug is great. Oh my God, this is the one. You're euphoric. You're like, finally, and then shit gets real and life gets real. And then you're like, wow, this drug doesn't really work anymore. This relationship doesn't really work anymore. And this is where we go through this cycle. And we have to repeat it oftentimes. So in that, I wanted to study it. I'm like, okay, so if this is happening, what else happens when we have emotional pain? Now this thing, come closer, is the most important thing to understand. Everyone has an emotional pain point before their 10th birthday, and it injures 2 things. The first thing it injures is your ability to delay gratification. I'm gonna say that again. You and your partner want to just instant gratify your way through life. But when it injures your ability to delay gratification, you can't be uncomfortable in your feelings. And if you can't sit in your feelings and be uncomfortable, you look to the other person to solve it. Or you look to drugs, or you look to alcohol, or you look to sex. You just have to like consume because you can't be uncomfortable with your feelings. And a big part of relationships is being uncomfortable, is waiting, is allowing. for the right person to appear without us deciding and controlling and swiping and, this is all what we've got to do in our relationships. We can't really just be uncomfortable. You don't have the ability until you heal that early pain point. And I want you to understand that. You can heal it, but it's a commitment to heal your inability to delay gratification. The second thing that gets injured, and it's really important to understand, is empathy. That's what gets injured. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. We can't feel bad without someone saying, stop feeling sorry for yourself. We have to mourn what we lost. And when we got injured before our 10th birthday, we lost the ability to trust. We lost the ability to know unequivocally that you are loved by your breath. That's what we lost. We lost that connection to the true self. We lost the ability to just be in our feelings, knowing that we're loved. And we don't need someone to be telling us all the time or showing it all the time or texting us constantly, reaffirming, you are loved, see, I'm still here. All of that nauseousness, it's just toxic because we lost the ability to really just feel. And that's the real thing that goes sideways in unhealthy relationships, is that first we think that they're solving it, but what we come to understand is they can't. And then we get our heart broken all over again because we built up this relationship with expectations and management and control and said, you should do X, Y, and Z. And why aren't you doing X, Y, and Z? You did X, Y, and Z before, and now it's 5 years later and you don't do any of those things. So then we start to pick at each other. And it's all because that early pain point, it's still alive in your body. Just is. So if we heal that early pain point, we can solve the question, are you loved by your breath? And the answer is yes. You cannot be in toxic triangulation when you heal because you realize that this isn't unhealthy, but this parallel tracks it is. And what you attract, the EKG, is magic. You attract your true partnership, not your false partner. You attract the things that you really love. And then love flows freely. But you don't know how to do all of that. So we wrote a course. I wanted to write, like, give me the skinny, give me the FAQ, like, give me the map. I want to know from A, B, C, D, like, lay it out for me. When I was dating, I didn't have that. Now, my first marriage definitely didn't have that. So then I spent 9 years single, really kind of single, 2 maybe dates here and there. And I wrote this playbook. I wanted to bring great love into my life. Once I discovered that I was already loved. Once I was by myself and I knew I was loved, I wanted a partner. I wanted a parallel track, healthy partner. So this playbook is what I did. I did all of it. And guess what? Happily married, have some great love in my life, but mostly I have great love of self. I understand now that I am loved by my breath, and you will too when you take this course. By the end of this course, you will know that you are loved by your breath, and everything will come to you when you can heal and allow it to. When you can delay a bit of gratification and see the magic that is probably right in front of you right now. So take this course and find your way to the healthiest you and also the healthiest relationships.